All right, so I would suggest let's jump into the tool. As far as I know, the Marketo Engage login is a little bit different to the other Adobe Experience Cloud products.
Yeah, it's not a unified login because of the acquisition of Marketo.
Okay.
But yeah, you just go on the Adobe Marketo website, go to login, then you will get to the sign-in, and they will just insert your credentials. And
well, it looks pretty straightforward, so
yeah,
it should be no problem.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool. So let's jump into the tool.
Yeah, here we go. That's what you'll see if you log into Marketo. So you have the different tiles here. Marketing activities, where everything what's related to marketing will happen, like campaigns that you set up, your forms, your web pages, data health campaigns. In Design Studio, you can set up all your templates from landing page, email templates, snippets that you can use across the Marketo Engage instance, and there you store your images and files that you will use like for your campaigns. In database, there's everything what's related to data, like your lead data, your contact data, your segments, your static and smart lists that you need for personalization and for campaigns. In analytics, you'll have everything that's related to what the lead is or the contact is doing with your campaigns, like visiting a web page, getting an email, reacting to an email, like opening it, or like clicking on a link. Then in Revenue Explorer, you have everything that's related like to what you get out of your campaign, like the return on investment based on the money that you put into a campaign and what comes out in closed opportunities. Then performance insights. There you have like accumulated view on all those revenue insights. Email insights is like the analytics reports, but like looking nicely.
Okay, all right.
And then community is where you get like to the Marketo Engage community, where you can ask questions, and SEO, where you can see like if your website needs improvement, but it's only usable like for the US market. I wouldn't recommend it to use it like in the DACH market. And predictive content, I think we're not talking about this today, but it's a pretty cool tool if you like want a little recommendation engine that displays the next content that you should consume.
Okay, cool. So, well, the top bar looks very familiar. It's similar to like Adobe Analytics or also Target. The other tiles are a bit different in design, and as you can see, there are so many topics. So it's not a single solution, but it's really like merging different solutions into one.
Yeah.
So we have like marketing activities, design, database, analytics, and so on. But what tools are we actually using on a, let's say, project basis, daily basis? Is everything in use, or are some more important?
So from a day-to-day use, you would go on marketing activities, like to take a look at your campaigns, how they're performing, and maybe adjusting them in real time. Design Studio you wouldn't use on a day-to-day basis because that's where all the templates are living.
Okay.
Then database, of course, you want to see what your leads or contacts are doing. So there is everything that's captured by the Munchkin code. So website visits, that's something you should look into. And of course, analytics.
All right.
So updating it from a day-to-day basis.
So the upper bar, like the four first ones, they are the most important.
Yeah, it is, and of course admin if you're assisting.
Sure, okay, of course. All right, so well, I would say for a marketing automation tool or lead management tool, it's very important to give freedom to the user in terms of database designing, the whole structure of the tool. What does Marketo provide to have such freedom in structure and in a daily working basis? How does Marketo solve it?
So if you get the instance from Adobe, it's nearly empty. So you can set up all the processes on your own. So you can decide like, how is the subscription process? How is my data model? So what data fields do I want? Do I want validation rules on them? And when you first get the instance, you will go to admin, where you have all the admin stuff like the users, the roles that you can set up, and the audit trail. So you see who is doing what, like deleting something or changing something, or for an admin, like giving a user access to the tool, then workspace and petitions, which you will need if you have different business lines across countries. So you can you can decide which business line is seeing what data. So like in Europe, you would like separate it by Germany, Austria, Switzerland, like for DACH or France.
That's similar to Adobe Target because workspaces in the Adobe world have different meanings. But in Adobe Target, we have a similar logic here.
Yeah, that's where you set up the workspaces, and they will get like the petitions in it. It's called person petitions, but I would use it for countries. So you can have like leads and contacts in Germany will go into the Germany petition, and you can easily set up a new one and assign it to a workspace. And what I would recommend here is to have like a default workspace. We call it here Center of Excellence, where you have access to all the leads. So if you want to do like a global campaign or something, or like a global campaign. Then you have like the smart campaigns here, which is really good because you can set a limit. So how many smart campaigns, if a certain number of qualified leads, people are there, it will exceed the limits.
All right.
Then on email, you can set up all the settings that you need, including the SPF and DKIM records. So it won't be we consider it spam if you receive an email. Then communication limits, where you can set like the limit of emails, non-operational emails that someone can receive. So like a newsletter registration where you need to click on the link will be sent even if there is the communication limits exceeded, because it's an operational email, of course.
All right.
And then what's cool is, and where you talked about how free the tool is, it's empty, so you can set up all your different channels. It's like campaigns. You can design the steps that someone will move through. And if you go like to a webinar, which is a standard that comes, you can like define the status that someone needs to jump, like invited, waitlisted, registered, and you can control it in your campaign, like when someone will jump from one status to another. And by giving them separate amounts like 10, 20, 20, 30, you can decide when someone is allowed to jump back. Like you could jump from registered to waitlisted because it's the same amount, but you couldn't jump back to invited.
Okay.
So you can give them like a guidance. And database management, of course, you can define all the fields that you need on a company level, on a lead level, and on opportunity level. So what you need. And we do have here a Salesforce integration to the CRM, because Marketo is a lead management tool. It's not having a CRM system, and Adobe doesn't have one. So you need like an external one like Salesforce, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics. And you can sync those fields and map them on lead fields or contact fields. If you want to like set up a company field in Marketo, you will have to write to the support, because they will set it up for you. And here's what makes the tool so cool, because you can set up all the fields and give them like different field types. Like if we go here and create a new custom fields, we can do it on a person or on programs. Like that's where Marketo is really, really good. If you do have a program, we go to those marketing activities and I'll show you the program later. But you can, like for your event campaigns, you can set up different event fields or UTM parameters that you can store on a campaign level. It won't be overridden every time the lead fills out a form, because it's bound to a campaign. And then you can choose the type here. So you have a lot of types to choose from. And what's good is in every form, you can define like the drop downs, the selectors, and it's not on a data field in the database. So you can define in every campaign different values for that, and you won't have a problem with an integration, of course.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
So I know you have prepared a form and its fields, so maybe we can have a look into that and see how it's actually working on a real website.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, we will go into marketing activities and I'll show you the program. So those are the workspaces that we have seen in the admin console. And from a best practice approach, we would set up like a center of excellence, like I told you, where you have like best practice campaigns that you can provide other business lines or countries so they can use it, and you will reduce the ramp up time for them. Because for someone new to this tool, it could be a huge amount of work to get it running. So yeah, we had like a newsletter subscription, so it's here defined in development and operational. And we do have here our coffee newsletter that we where we embedded the form on your website. And first of all, I want to show you the program. So here you can define the channels that I showed you, so it's operational in that case, and you will have an overview of the assets. So what's happening? So we have two campaigns in here, send confirmation and set a newsletter status. So those are here in 03 campaigns. And here you have the opportunity to create your workflow. So first of all, we have a trigger, fills out the form that we embedded. And in the flow, it will like send an email and change the program status so we know that's a member. And the second step, it will listen to a click and will set the subscription status newsletter to subscribed.
All right, let's jump into the form.
Yeah, in Marketo, we were at the campaign, and here you have the folder forms, and we created like the coffee newsletter subscription form. And there we go on create draft. So every time you change an asset in Marketo, you will create a draft, so the live instance of the form isn't changed until you approve the new one. So we create a draft so I can show you what possibilities you have in a form. So like we said, when looking at the database, you have here the possibility in a select field type to define your own values, like the display value and the stored value. Like if you have like an integration with a CRM system where you have like displayed values, but you do have on the stored value just an ID, you can simply change it by going here and like ID 909, and this will be stored in the database.
All right.
And you can add like other values by just clicking here and stored value, but I'll change it back. So then we do have like a simple text field where we can do like validations on it, or we can do a form pre-fill. So every time already known lead comes on a website where a form is embedded and the Munchkin ID, the Munchkin tracking script, will pull up the name of the respective lead. Then we have email address, which will be validated by the email field type, and you can like exclude in the admin specific email addresses. Then we have like here a select as well and a checkbox, and we can add easily additional fields by going and add new field and search it in the database. So what is a really cool feature is in form settings, we can set progressive profiling to enable, so we can qualify a lead step by step. Progressive profiling means in that case that already known values will be not displayed anymore, and it will get another field from the progressive profiling table, that the fields that we put into here. I'll disable it again. Just go here and say approve and close. And there it goes. We see the green check mark. It's approved. And when using Marketo forms on an external website, you can go here by embed code and copy it. So this is the thing that you will insert on your website. And we did this for a test on the coffee website. So here we have the embedded form, the form I showed you. I just reloaded, second. And here we can simply choose the values, like a name, an email, last name, and I choose like a temporary email address. So we can see that it actually comes. We have an industry like consulting. Yes, I want to subscribe.
Of course.
Yeah. And then we do have a redirectional thank you page that we can define. So it can be a Marketo page.
Which is the case here, right?
Yeah, it is. And then we just reload it. Inbox is empty.
Okay, this might take a few seconds. Here
there
we
it
go.
is.
Great.
Yeah, there is the white paper that we wanted. And
yeah, that's already pre-configured by you.
Yeah, it is.
And of course, we have also the data from the forms or from the form fields from the form in Marketo itself.
Yeah, we can actually go here in our campaign where we have web content and here the Adobe target, and we have here the campaign like send white paper. Like it's here defined by fills out the form, the white paper form, or the coffee newsletter, and it will send you the white paper. And here in results, we see that that an email was sent to the temporary email address that we used, and by clicking on the person's name, we get into the database where we were before. And here we see all the activities that I took on the web page that we saw. So here you see the fill out form, you see the form fields, so which values are in there. You see the page on which it was filled out. You see the refer URL, and you see all the campaigns in the system that triggered based on the form fill out. So first of all, we have like here the white paper delivery, but also like scoring. We set up a scoring in Marketo, and every time a lead does a certain activity, it will be triggered. Like here, it fills out default form, and it will be changed. Yeah, and we do have all the values that we filled out here in the database, which will be enhanced every time we do something, or we fill out a form, or we can change it manually.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe one step back, you mentioned this Munchkin ID. So I understand it this way, that on the website itself, there is a pixel implemented with one special Munchkin ID, which is gathering all the data from the visitors.
Yeah, here in admin, you have the possibility to change to use the Munchkin code. It's here. And you saw the workspaces and partitions. I can choose here the workspace and partition I want to use it for, like Germany or Center of Excellence. So we can, on different instances of the website, like if you have different countries or business lines, you can insert a certain script and you can enhance it with JavaScript.
Okay, just one information here. Of course, you can insert the script directly or via Tag Manager. If you are using the tag management system from Adobe, which is called Launch or Data Collection, there is also a so-called extension where you can implement this extension. You only have to provide the IDs within the extension.
Yeah. And actually, we did have an AEM site where we insert the form. It's possible to do an integration between Marketo and IAM with the form component. So you just create an empty form on the Marketo side and insert the ID on the IAM side, and there you can like create all the fields. So you have the field creation actually in IAM and just sync the data to the respective form. That's possible too.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And we do have here in the flow filled out form. And if we go on our campaign or program, we see here that I'm now in the status fill out form. So we saw it before in the tags and channels, where you can create like for a webinar event, the channels like invited, subscribe, whitelisted, etc. So We do this here with the respective change program status flow. And we do have here change status to influence. As soon as someone clicks to the link and I download the white paper, okay, I get to a page because we just linked it to one.
Yeah, right.
And then we're waiting for this to trigger. And we see here we change the program status because I clicked on the link. And if we go into our profile here, we'll see that there's an interesting moment created, which we use mainly with the CRM integration because you want to show sales, of course, if there's a certain activity that a lead took that's interesting, like clicking on the white paper. So they have like an opener on the next engagement with the lead or contact. And you see that the scoring behavior for clicks a link in an email triggered.
All right, so maybe that's a good point, or yeah, to look into the possibilities within Marketo to bring your own marketing logic, like scoring, etc. Because here we have one, new user which you can apply those scores for example.
Yeah. So first of all, marketing. We do have the possibility to create different programs which act as campaigns. Like here we do have a default program which you use for lead generation or form fill-outs or contact us forms. Then we have nurturing, which is like lead nurturing, which we do over a certain amount of time, like a lifecycle communication, where you start somewhere and you get the best next content. Then we have newsletter programs, which is used like for one at a time email send out, like sending you a newsletter for audience or something. And we do have an event campaigns where you can manage a trade show, or you have like a webinar or something. So you can manage it from form fill out until like a post event communication. And you have the possibility here, like in a calendar, to set the sendouts. So it's fully automated. You start it, the lead subscribes, and you get the communication on the dates, and you see here an overview. Yeah, but back to the market logic. So we subscribe to the newsletter, and we can create our own subscription. So we do have here a subscription center where you get on in an email if you click the manage the preferences. And let's have a preview of that. You will have all your information displayed here with citation first, last, email address, and you can unsubscribe from the newsletter. And you will have the possibility to say, no, it's not me. Need to go on the other one. Here, not you. That's if someone just forwarded the email to somebody and he clicks on the link and he gets there.
Or it's a shared device, maybe that's also.
And then afterwards you will get here like an update with your subscription, updated subscription. You will get an overview of the data that you inserted, like name, email, newsletter, subscription status. And we just like provide like the new white paper or something, so you can go on. That's totally manageable, and it's manageable like for different subscriptions. Like if you in the US you have another like model like an opt-in, and in Europe you have like double opt-in. You can manage this in separate workspaces and provide an own subscription center for every country. Then we do have like the data management to keep the database in Marketo clean. You have like normalized data workflows, like country with United Kingdom is like an example. And we'll just jump in it. 1 second. It's loading. Reload the page. Here we go. So every time like the country field in Marketo contains like England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, UK, or Virgin Islands, we'll go and just change the data value of the country to the United Kingdom. Same with the United States. Like you have so many different like writings for that, and we'll just want to have a normalized database. Same for the source or email deliverability or UTM typology, like you want to have the unique UTM parameters if you come like from an email or something. So the first touch, and then we have like every time you interact the touch. So just to show you here, like copy UTM term, we get from the URL parameter, we get like the UTM campaign. If the data value changes first or a person is created. So this is for new people that come into our database, and this is for existing ones. And then we just copy this to the original UTM term. So this won't change anymore, because here you see you can run through the flow once, so it won't trigger a second time. Then the same with the Salesforce sync, interesting moments like we saw, like click the link in an email. That's what we used in our lead profile to create like click link in email, the link. So if we go back, you'll see here, interesting moment, click link in email. This is the email name in Marketo, plus the link that the respective person clicked. And you just have to create it once, because they're like the tokens for that, trigger name and trigger link. And it's really easy. And last but not least, the scoring, like we have behavioral scoring and the demographic scoring. So like here, basics, like we score on industry. If someone is like in the industry, high value industry, then it will be set to person score industry height. And those are like local tokens, which you can set on a program base. So every time you clone the program, this won't be changed. And if you want to change like the value, you can go here on the My Tokens and just change the value. So you don't have to jump into each campaign if you are using like a token more than once.
All right, so maybe going back into the scoring and the interesting moments, where, for example, can you use those information? So let's imagine we have one user which clicked on that email, and we know he or she experienced one interesting moment, and now we can work with this information, right?
Yeah. So mostly we use the interesting moments, like I said before, with sales. So we give them like an overview of the most interesting like touch points that you had with a lead, or a lead has with your brand. Everything else, like link clicks or something, let's create like a new campaign so I can show you. Like go here, and we created in this folder a new smart campaign, like email click. You don't have to have an interesting moment in Marketo for that, because on Smart List you have different triggers and filters. So a trigger you use will be fired every time someone does something. So like email, you can just say here, click link in email. So it will be executed immediately. And there you can just use every email that you want. And we had like the target here, and we can do by constraint, we can choose everything, like link, the test variant that we have, if we have an A/B test, ID, the device, the platform, the browser, everything. And then here I will only display the links that are in the email, and you asked for the link that would be provided by the interesting moment. So we could use this to start a follow-up communication.
And for example, you can create here like a funnel communication flow. Every step will trigger, if wanted, another email or another communication.
Yeah, it's like with a double opt-in. So first you send an email, then you react on the link, and you can.
For example,
yeah. So you're guiding your leads down the sales funnel until you give them to sales to close the deal, and that's where the scoring comes in. So when having like a sales and marketing alignment, where you align on the scorings when someone is handed over or routed from marketing to sales, you say like a score of 90 is enough. So the lead is like workable for us, or is a sales accepted lead. Then you can use like the integration to a CRM to hand them over, like with a Salesforce sync here, think a lead or create a task for a lead. So that's where Marketo is really good, and you can do like a multi-scoring. So you can score like different business lines or country itself. You can create own scores for that, and that's really good.
So you're totally free in your own definitions here.
That's really good, but could be bad as well.
Of course, you have to plan it very carefully, of course.
Yeah, of course. And you should do this from the start. So the first thing you should figure out is if you want different partitions and workspaces or not, because if you start with just one workspace and partition, it's really hard to set this up afterwards, like to add additional workspaces. And if you go like for different workspaces, I would always consider two, like Center of Excellence and the real one, the country one. You can just clone stuff. Like if you have this white paper campaign and it's like a best practice for that, you can just go here and say, I want to clone this. And I don't want to clone it in Center of Excellence, but to clone it to Germany. And I want to clone it into a campaign folder, and I choose like the active marketing programs D, and I just say cloned white paper download. I can just provide it. Okay, there's different stuff that's not clonable at the moment. 1 second, but I think we did it before. Like here we have the target white paper, which has like the same build up like you have up here. But wait, let me just go into campaigns and resolve the problem. So we go here, and since we don't have this in the other workspace, it should be doable now. Like go on clone, choose the right workspace, choose a campaign folder. So just white paper. So use in another event invitation sales. So we go here and check and try to resolve this as well. Or we just go and delete it. 1 second. So, and we try it again. So it's a working with
Yeah, sure. It's just to show how it's working.
And we just choose and I say what download.
And here we go.
Here we go. So you need everything, or at least here we're using templates. But if you have like a campaign reference in here and you try to clone it, it won't work because it's not available in the other workspace. And so we can just share like campaigns or best practices to different countries or business lines.
All right. Maybe one question before we go on. You mentioned that it makes sense to have like the Center of Excellence as the, let's say, multi-partition.
Yeah.
And then choosing different markets or countries. It would be also possible to have different business units.
Yeah.
Does this make also sense, or is it better to have the different market logic?
This always depends on the company that's using it. If they want like to have the business lines separated from each other, or like the countries.
All right, okay.
That's based on the legal entities and everything.
And it would be also possible to have both, like on business unit and country level.
Yeah, that's possible, but the complexity
increases, of course.
Increases for that, yeah.
Sure. All right, great. So you already mentioned Salesforce a couple of times, and I'm wondering which CRM systems Marketo is able to connect with.
So natively, we can do Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics 365 Sales, and we can set this up in the admin. And you have here like the Salesforce integration, but we could choose Microsoft Dynamics as well. But the only thing that you need to take into consideration is as soon as you link Marketo to one CRM, you can't resolve this anymore.
Oh, okay.
So you have to consider which CRM you will link, and if you want to exchange your CRM system, in the near time. So, and it's pretty good. You can sync all the activities that are done by a lead in Marketo to Salesforce.
Ah, okay.
And right. you do have an overview of the sync status if everything is working well, and the sync errors if there's one. So you can set up the field mapping from Salesforce and Marketo, and you can do this here in the field management where we were before, where you set up all your new fields and like change your existing ones. And you see here is field mapping, and I see all the fields that are mapped. Like if I go here on something like first name, you see that it's mapped on a contact and on a lead basis, because we do have a different data model. On Marketo side, you only have like leads. A lead could be a contact as well. All right. In Marketo, but in Salesforce, you do have one object for lead and one for contact. And this is managed in Salesforce by like a lead ID that you have and a contact ID and a converted status. And you can add any lead mapping that you want.
They are not okay.
And since you have like opportunities or custom object on the Salesforce side, you can create them on the Marketo side as well with a new custom object and link them to the object sync. And what you have is like an opportunity sync from Salesforce to Marketo, because you can create an opportunity in Marketo only by API. You can't just go there and create one. You need an external trigger. And you need a contact role for that, or a sales role. Yeah.
All right. You mentioned Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics Sales. Is it possible to connect also other tools, for example, SAP Sales?
Yes, you can do that, but SAP Sales isn't supported natively. So you need a middleware like webmethods or something that's maintaining that.
All right.
Yeah. So, or you build like your own one, or you like or you use like the one media insights tool that's there.
All right. All right. So maybe one step back. Would it be possible to use Marketo Engage also as a CRM tool, or why does it make sense to have both?
That depends a little bit. If you already have like a CRM tool, if you don't have one, you can like extend the Marketo Engage, which is like a lead management tool, a little bit to CRM, like sending sales updates via email, and giving them the opportunity to upload data. But I wouldn't recommend that, because Marketo is made for marketing and not for sales. And sales could be overwhelmed by the functions because they barely would use all of them just to look in a lead or contact. So you can use it if you don't have a CRM. If you have a CRM, please don't let sales look into Marketo.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So even though the surface looks a little bit different to the other Adobe tools, some things are very familiar, like you can adjust everything. Everything is changeable, and that's really an Adobe asset, I would say.
Yeah.
And if I know Adobe products, and they are always connected through the Adobe Experience Cloud. Are there some connections within Adobe Marketo towards other tools?
Yes, like you can connect it to the Adobe Experience Manager. Like you can get assets from AEM, like you can load the images or assets that are in the Adobe Experience Manager into Marketo.
And then use them, for example, within the emails.
Or on landing pages or somewhere else, like in snippets or something. That's possible. Then I think there's a new target connector, and it's possible to connect it to the AEP.
Exactly. There is a new connection with the Adobe Experience Platform. Yes, so that's also something Adobe is working on. However, it's pretty new, so we don't have a showcase right now. Okay, are there other integrations as well Adobe Marketo is providing?
Yeah, you can like send data from Marketo to any tool you want by using webhooks, and you can just define the payload that you want to send. and like
for example, as a post request.
Yeah, it's possible to do that. And you have like service providers where you can add new services. Like to enter the URL and just create it, or we have Launch Point where we can add like predefined services. Like going here, you have Adobe Connect or like Zoom as a webinar tool, or GoToWebinar or Custom, where you can have like an endpoint that could be consumed from another tool. And you have here the overview of all what you can use, like the daily request limits, the SOAP API endpoints, and the REST API endpoints.
All right. Before we talk a little bit about other competitors of Adobe Marketo, are there some things you would like to show us in the tool?
Yeah, let's go to
other things.
Let's go to the database, because we were there barely. So you have here the possibility like to create a segmentation, like an industry segmentation, like you have insurance, healthcare, electronics, government, chemicals, all you want to personalize on. And you see here it shows you how many leads you have in the database that fulfill the requirements that we set. Like here in biotechnology, we just set in the smart list. The industry is biotechnology, but you can,
which is, for example, coming through the filled out form, or
just an upload or from the Salesforce CRM.
Okay.
And you can use those segmentations. I'll jump back in our marketing activities. And you can use this, like we go here and we have like our newsletter, and we go in here and say edit to draft. And now this is possible on all the assets that you create in Marketo. You can just go in here and say make it dynamic.
Okay.
And we can go here and choose the industry, which we saw was approved with a check mark. And you can say now I want to dynamize it, and we choose those headlines, and we have now the possibility.
Industry,
we can. Oh, we already did this. You have like for biotechnology, you can write something different here, and for hospitality, it would be something else, or for chemicals. So you can create like one newsletter and send it to a bunch of people. I would always recommend to do this on a product interest, and then just narrow it down by the industry to provide all the insights that you need for your industry. Like if you have a software product or something, what could your product do for insurance or healthcare or electronic? And you can dynamize everything, like the from name as well. So if you have like different sales guys or contact persons, you can use for chemicals another name, another from address, reply to a subject. So you can really do like a one-to-one personalization within Marketo. And like I said before, nothing, if you change something, it will stay like this until you approve it again. So we can go here and create a draft on this and just change something. You see the approved stays, and we do have like a draft here and can do
green check mark.
Yeah, that's true. We can go here and say like a score. A certain behavior score needs to be fulfilled, and it's greater than 20 to come into this. And what we need to do now, you see here is a draft icon. To make it work, we need to approve the draft. And it will change now on all the segments that we used.
Okay.
So you see now it's synced. It will be synced, and this approximately count would change. And as we saw in the marketing activities, we can share this to different countries as well. Like we have it here, shared segmentations. And there you see is the industry and test for CDP and everything else. And the countries can create their own segmentations as well if they need a certain one. So that's really, really nice to do that. And it's a little bit like with a CDP, you know.
A little bit,
of
course. I mean, of course, the logic is a little bit different. Within the CDP, you're more looking for online behavior as well. And then activating that data within the web. However, yes, you're right. There are a lot of different tools included, just like the emailing here, the form fields, etc. Pretty cool. Is there one more feature you would like to show, or I mean, it's already a lot.
No, I think that's everything. Maybe to narrow it down. So
yeah,
Marketo combines like a lot of the Adobe features that are out there, like from campaign, like the standout and the campaigning, and from AM to create like pages or something.
Or the forms.
Yeah, or the forms, or like from analytics a little bit. So you do have analytics in Marketo.
You have the Munchkin cookie, of course. You can, or the Munchkin ID and the pixel. You can get some behavioral data, combining this information into one profile. Yes.
Yeah. So it combines a lot, but
there's also a personalization part included.
Yeah,
right?
It is, but it's not in this. This Marketo license that we have, it's an additional model to use like the personalization, and that's a little bit like with Target.
Okay,
but
good to know.
When deciding to use Target or the Marketo personalization, I always would choose Target.
Of course, yeah. But everything is really dedicated to a B2B business. It's not like the logic also behind the data structure is not to organize B2C.
You can use it for B2C use cases since the instance is nearly empty when you get it. You can set up your own processes, but it's like made for B2B, since you have like an additional model which we don't have, as well as the ABM model, where you can see like your buying center and accumulated accounts going based on all the people that are in the account on the different hierarchies, and you can set up buyer personas there.
Okay, right. So maybe now we can talk a little bit about the competitors of Adobe Marketo. I guess there are a lot of different on the market. I know there is, for example, Salesforce Parted, which is similar, kind of. Can you give us an overview?
Yeah, I can. So like you said, there's Parted, there's the Salesforce Marketing Cloud, then we have like Mages, Dynamics 365 Marketing, Oracle Eloqua, and of course Campaign.
Sure.
Yeah. So like you do have in every solution unique features. One of Marketo is that you have like the programs where everything is combined in a folder, and you can just clone the folder and just change tokens. So you make it really easy for marketing teams that are coming new to Marketo to set up the wrap-up time for them really short, so they can use different campaigns. On Powder side, there's certain features that you can use uniquely, since it's connected to Salesforce. But when combining Marketo and Powder on both sides, you need to do integration into Salesforce. So Powder is like an alone standing tool from my perspective, as it is Marketo Engage. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Marketing, you do have like a best of suite approach. Like you have like Dynamics Marketing, Dynamics Sales, Dynamics Service, and they're all well integrated. I think that's a unique selling point on the Microsoft side, since Adobe doesn't have like a CRM solution. It always relies on an external one, like Salesforce, Microsoft, or whatever. So.
Okay, but maybe what is one USP you would say Adobe Marketo has?
The wrap-up time is really short for people to come in, and that it's so customizable.
Yeah, sure, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's a unique selling point that you have here.
Okay, so maybe let's talk about a possible project. So what is important to consider? What are the first steps to do within a Marketo project? How would you start? How would you set up a roadmap and so on?
First of all, you should have a strategic view on that, what you want to achieve with like a marketing solution. Not only Marketo Engage, but if you're implementing like every marketing automation tool, you should have a strategic vision where like your journey goes. Then you should define use cases. What do you want to do with the tool? Where it's helping you? And based on that, you should create requirements. So a form tool should have like dependent fields, hidden fields, etc. pp. And it should have like validation rules and everything. And then you should go into like a vendor decision which one to choose. And then you should start with implementing, setting up the project team that you have. Like you should have like a designer in your team, because you need to create all the emails and make them modular. So you don't have like a static template where you can change anything. Or you need to have like someone, an analytics guy who sets it up for you to adjust your Munchkin code and everything. And you should have like consultants that know how to set up campaigns and do have a view on the future and not on the now. So you have a future-proven solution. Yeah.
You haven't mentioned a developer. Is that?
If you don't have like a custom integration somewhere, you mostly don't need a developer, because it's like, I would say plug and play. I know that everybody says
that,
everybody says that's a plug and play, but when having like Salesforce and you don't Salesforce integration and you don't want to have like a custom object thing or something else, or custom object at all, or activities, it's really, really easy, and it's described like on the Adobe Experience League how to do it, and you can do it without a developer.
Well, I would say if you are familiar, for example, with a tag management tool as well, if you want to integrate the Munchkin pixel and the form, that's fine. However, if that's new to you, there might be at least some parts which a web developer should do, but it's quite limited.
But you're right, you always should include the IT into such projects.
Yeah, of course.
Because of data security and everything else, and where it's hosted. So you always should include IT in your projects.
By the way, the hosting is within the Adobe Cloud, right? It's not on-premise.
Yeah, it's in the cloud, and I think it's on Rackspace in Amsterdam, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, of course, that's always something you have to make clear.
But there's a really good white paper from Adobe about all the security features of Marketo. Where it's hosted, how it's secured.
And how long would you say does it take to set up Marketo and have the first data, the first emails flying around?
So when implementing this, you should focus like on the 3 most important use cases to implement it. You should first think about the workspace implementations and then set up your use cases. And it's like a wrap-up time from 2 to 3 months to have everything up and running for those 3 use cases. If you, of course, want to do a rollout, it could take a lot longer, because if you have different countries that you need to onboard and to clone the campaigns and to set up all the legal stuff and the snippets that you use in emails, it could take a lot longer.
Okay, all right. Okay, then thank you, Niklas, for your insights.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.